This week's energy is giving major buildup of of transformation, of change. Astrology jargon moment. We have Mars starting to square Pluto. Mars is moving into Taurus. We have Venus moving into Cancer, activating Mars. We have Mercury on Uranus. Mercury's now in Gemini. So a lot of our focus is going to be on socializing and ideas, sharing information with people and connecting with people, learning. There could be a lot of sudden mind shifts or mind changes taking place as well. There could also be some moodiness mixed in with all of that now that we have Venus moving into Cancer. Another big thing that we have going on is Gemini season begins this week, and it will move over. The sun in Gemini will move over Uranus and harmonize with Pluto. But the Mars square Pluto energy is really the biggest thing that we're going to have building all week. Now, it's not going to peak until next week, but we're going to feel it start to build this week in a major way, like a pressure cooker. And so there might be a lot of things that come up around our stability, around our comforts, around things that we are realizing we need to really change in a massive way. Now, if you want to talk more astrology jargon of this upcoming week and what's going on with your chart, come join my membership. That is the place to talk in the language of astrology and human design, or learn more about it if you're already kind of, the basics. If you don't know the basics of astrology or human design, check out my courses. My Become an Astrologer course teaches you the basics of astrology so you can learn to understand this language and how to apply it to your life. And my membership is further support for that as well. And we really just speak the language of astrology and human design to each other. It's so fun. I love connecting with y'all in there intimately off of social media and in a space we can really get to know each other and connect personally over what is going on right now. And the things that are going to be taking place this summer are really massive. We have Jupiter moving into Leo, we have the North Node moving into Aquarius. There are a lot of changes upcoming. And this week is kind of like I said, a build up, a build up in a major way of that energy. A lot of us might be dealing with body stuff too, like feeling really tired, feeling maybe easily irritated or frustrated. Again, the kind of moodiness that could be coming up with this energy, specifically around things that we know we need to change or we need to view differently. For me personally, I've been really realizing how much I need to cultivate certain feelings in my day to day, like gratitude and joy and excitement and doing things in my life that help me to cultivate those energies. But I'm also dealing with like allergies and a little bit of like respiratory stuff that's really getting to me. So, we're all kind of experiencing physical symptoms in a lot of ways as well, whether it's allergies or it's actually being sick. That's coming up right now too because our body needs to rest. And through that rest, we're going to receive the clarity on what we need to change in order to move forward in our lives in a new way, right? We're all kind of like still in a transition. We're still in a major building phase of the new life that we have been stepping into this year. And as I've said in other videos about this year, it's a 1 year. So this is all about new beginnings, and new beginnings are rough. They require courage and bravery to step into, take a leap into the unknown and to get out of our comfort zones. It's not easy. I've been talking about this on my Instagram stories earlier today because just reflecting over how much of my life has changed in the last year. My life looked completely different last year. Those of you that were following me and watching my stuff back then probably know. I was, my life was kind of a mess. I was very stressed. I was in a lawsuit with my landlord and living in a very unhealthy living situation physically because of whatever, not to get into it, but I was living a completely different life than I am now. And I had to really have a lot of courage to step into this. I had to really trust my intuition and myself. and really listen to me and my inner voice and my desires, and also use my astrology, my astrocartography to see where was going to be best for me to live and begin this new chapter, right? And those of you who know this already, I moved to my Venus line. I talk about this in my astrocartography course that's in my membership, and it really has just been a whole 180 of my life's path and direction. And there's just been such ease in being here, even though it was hard and took a lot of courage to take the leap to get here, right? But that's where we're all at collectively, is we have to really take a leap in a major way, even if it doesn't make sense to our mind, even if it's like, this seems crazy. We have to take the leap. And this is what I've been helping a lot of my one-on-one clients with recently. It's like, yes, this is the direction you're meant to go. And like, your intuition has already been telling you this, and your chart is just screaming it at us, right? So do the thing that's uncomfortable, or there's going to be this major pressure that builds where you're not given a choice anymore. And I think I talked about this last week, in this kind of energy of this year, is like, if we're not honoring where we're led to, even if it seems crazy or completely different than what we've done before, we have to honor it. And if we don't, the rug might be ripped out from under us, so that we move in the direction that's meant for us, that spirit, the universe, your intuition has been telling you all along. And it's just about not giving authority, your own authority, away to those fears versus what your intuition is telling you to step into, that is new and that is different, right? I have another video on this channel coming this week, more about how to trust your inner guidance system and how to kind of, it's about human design. If you haven't heard of human design, it's a wonderful way to know when you're on the right path and when you're in alignment, and how to really trust your own inner authority, your guidance system. I like to call it, human design your user manual for life, versus astrology is more of like your timing and your life story. Human design really gives you specific instructions on how you're meant to move through life in alignment, and how you know when you're on the right track versus when you're maybe holding on to those fears or misalignment and perpetuating that in your life, versus your alignment and your path of least resistance. So human design gives us a way to kind of practically and tangibly see that about ourselves, in order to align with our true path and your true self. So that's going to be more important than ever moving forward, and knowing what is your true path of alignment and how to trust that in that, right? So, is there anything else I want to say about this week? Um, yeah, just really cultivate the energies that you want as much as you consciously and intentionally can, versus giving weight to the things that you don't want, right? So major energy of right now, as well as with Uranus on, with Mercury on Uranus, and now in Gemini, and everything that's just going to be moving into Gemini here in these coming weeks and months. So, um, is that all I want to say? Yeah, slow and steady with Mars and Taurus. Slow and steady wins the race too. So trust your energetic levels, trust your moods, and your divine, unique timing. So let's get into the horoscopes. Hmm. Aries Rising. Hi. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your day to day. There's a lot of momentum in what you're doing, where you're going, who you're talking to, also in your area of communication, ideas, how you're sharing information, and a lot of shifts this week really start to occur into other areas as well. A lot of focus on money and how that ties into your long-term goals and visions. As we head into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your home and your family. So there might be some things there that you're getting clarity around, your living situation, your inner world, things like that. Maybe mindset shifts that need to occur. Could put some tension or challenge you in some way, your identity, your sense of self. There could on Wednesday be a big emotional release related to home or family. The emotional focus, there's a lot of expansion of the emotional focus on your home or family on Wednesday. There could be something triggering that comes up to be looked at in order to heal at a deeper level as it relates to your identity, your sense of self, your appearance, and how that ties into this next chapter you're heading into. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your creative passions, pursuits, dating, romance. Could, put a lot of attention on your long-term goals or community, friend groups, social media, as well as really challenge money or values, possessions. There could be this sense of like, I need to sell a bunch of stuff, or I really need to like invest in this thing in order to support where I'm headed and my creative passions and pursuits. There could also be, like I said earlier, a lot of social conversations that you're having or people that you're speaking to that are kind of inspiring you to get more clarity on what this change is or how to go about it. And then it feels like on Friday, whatever you're emotionally focused on in your creativity is supporting building this new image or this new sense of self for yourself and really stepping into this new identity and this new chapter and change and like it's starting with you and rippling out into every other area of your life in really major ways. As we head into Saturday, there could be an emotional release related to work or day-to-day routines, physical health, maybe a mindset, something emotionally that's coming up to shift as well, maybe related to communication patterns or belief systems, socializing or friend groups too. Could be a part of that of what you're changing or releasing emotionally on Saturday. Over the weekend, the emotional focus is really on kind of cleaning up your day to day, maybe getting more clarity again on where you want to go and who you want to talk to as a daily routine, and taking action on that. You could also again be kind of maybe purging or selling possessions that you don't like or need anymore, and just kind of maybe rearranging physical stuff, or something at work as it relates to that, or there's the emotional focus, like I said, over the weekend is on your day to day, on your work, your physical health, and kind of refining or cleaning things up there in some major ways. Sunday, there could be a tough conversation you have to have emotionally, with maybe a family member or a neighbor or someone close to you, maybe related to work or related to health, kind of maybe like setting boundaries in order to, I don't know, just have a different approach to this connection or how you communicate your needs and boundaries in general. It's like you're integrating something around that in a major way. So that is how we end out your week, Aries. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your money, values, possessions. There's a lot of shifts occurring for you at the beginning of the week, and starting to kind of build this momentum towards taking action on something that is new, a new cycle, a new path, maybe related to work, career, although it could feel like there's challenges or conflicts with you and your work and career. Like there's kind of something you're learning how to evolve or balance in ways that are needed. Could have some helpful people around you, conversations that support that though. Like it could be, you get ideas from people who you're talking with or who are around you on a daily basis or weekly basis or whatever. Tuesday, there's a lot, this is when these shifts kind of really take hold. And the emotional focus shifts on Tuesday into your day to day, where you're going, who you're talking to, how you're sharing ideas and information, also how you're kind of speaking up for yourself, from a place of self-care. So there could be something around that on Tuesday that comes up. But I do feel like in general, you're going to be having a lot of like helpful people around you and helpful conversations, in order to work through what's coming up at a subconscious level and also how to move forward with what you're doing that's new related to career, money, and your sense of self. Wednesday, emotions could be really heightened in you're just kind of day-to-day conversations or where you have to go run errands. It could be something later on Wednesday that comes up that's really triggering in a subconscious way. Could be just like a stranger in passing that this kind of old wound, identity wound comes up around maybe and just kind of shows you at a deeper level what needs to be cleared out. Thursday, we begin Gemini season in your area of value, money, possessions. So there's a big focus on all of that in your life and what's changing what you value, your possessions, in general, how you make money, what you're doing with it. Also on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your home and family. So you might be kind of caving away or hermiting away to kind of reflect on the month so far, and what to kind of change about, or what to evolve in order to kind of have more fluidity with what you're changing in your life and moving forward with. Although there could be some tension between home, family, career, and your sense of self and identity as well. But I feel like there's a lot of supportive people coming, again, for you at this time around you to help with whatever this is. Friday, there could be a big illumination of change within money, possessions, as well as getting a lot more clarity on like how to really stay dedicated to certain practices, spiritual practices, or healing modalities in order to work through what's coming up in your inner world, and to make more room for joy. As we head into Saturday and really over the weekend, the emotional focus for you is on your creative passions, dating, romance, creativity. There could be some emotional release related to that early on Saturday. Maybe children, if that applies for some of you. It is kind of harmonizing with what you're taking action on to step in a new direction. But also kind of activating this maybe need to speak up for yourself or call on people to help support you through whatever this is to get more clarity on how to move forward. Sunday, as we end out the week, there could be an opportunity to have an emotionally clearing conversation with someone about money or possessions or your values, maybe related to creative passions or projects or things like that. So you can, again, clear clear whatever's there to clear out in order to step into a major new direction for yourself in a big way. So that is how we end out your week, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on you. There could be a lot of emotional clarity you're gaining around your new path and direction. A lot of mental clarity as well. If you felt a mental fog, like that's really clearing up in a major way. You could be feeling a lot more creatively inspired and just feeling like you're in love with your life and what you're doing, moving forward and yeah, and how you're moving forward. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your money, values, possessions. There could be some things you're literally clearing from your life, either physically, emotionally, or energetically. There's a lot of opportunity on Tuesday for clearing things, maybe with the help of friends or your community in some way, or like selling stuff on Facebook kind of thing. Also, there's a big activation within your inner world related to your belief systems and your perspective of life that's building as well, and kind of bringing things up at a deeper level underneath the surface, again, to be cleared in a major way. And on Wednesday, there could be some big emotional amplification, maybe related to your value, your sense of self, like moving forward. I mean, there's a big identity level shift that's occurring for you at the moment and building right now in major ways. So Wednesday could maybe bring up some emotional emotions to be cleared. Maybe feeling a little bit sensitive and a little bit like emotionally triggered on Wednesday. Maybe from friends or social media or community or something like that. There's this big identity shift that is being brought up. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your communication, your day to day, where you're going, who you're talking to, how you're sharing ideas and information. There's a big sense of like, I have to do what I'm doing from joy, and I really can't force joy. Like, you can't force something to excite you. The things that excite you, and you can't force that or predict that. So there's kind of this aha moment of like, I really need to shift the way that I'm seeing this or shift the way that I'm talking to myself about this. And maybe putting in some sort of grounding practice or routine that's going to support you with this mindset shift that you're integrating in a really big way. There's also Thursday and Friday, this big identity illumination happening, big change within your sense of self, and big focus on you and moving forward in a really big way from what you have been doing. As we head into the weekend on Saturday, the emotional focus is going to be on your home and family, on releasing something there. This could be letting go of emotions related to home, family, or childhood, your inner world. Again, a lot of emotional clearing could happen this week around these changes that you're making in this new life and direction you're stepping into. So there could be a big emotional release or purge again, maybe on Saturday. Could also be again the way that you talk to yourself and like your inner thoughts, like how you speak to yourself, and really kind of releasing old self-criticism or perfectionistic tendencies around that. Sunday, that could come up again in a different way, maybe needing to communicate yourself differently than you have done in the past, maybe with family or to family. Um, and there's kind of this tension and this conflict between your emotional focus on home and family and like you communicating you related to this new path and this new direction and in this whole new like identity that is forming at this time as well for you, Gemini. So that is your week ahead. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your mental health, your inner world. There could be some things subconsciously you're getting a lot of clarity around, identity wounds that need letting go of, that need release, that need kind of like this mental reframe at the start of the week. And as we head into Tuesday, there is a sense of emotional renewal. There is a sense of as the emotional kind of mood of the day shifts out of your inner subconscious and into you. So there's this really big sense of like renewal within your sense of self and within your identity, maybe your appearance. Also with Venus now in your area of you, there is this sense of really feeling yourself, really feeling I don't know, maybe putting more effort into your appearance or how you look or how you're dressing. There's this big sense of like renewal and more fluidity with the way that you're presenting yourself. Maybe feeling more imaginative and more creative as well moving forward from this week onward. But at the same time, there's a lot of mental shifts taking place for you and a lot of mindset reframes that are necessary with this energy. A lot of inner world shifts and transformation at a really deep level, maybe calling for some vulnerability. On Wednesday, there is emotional amplification within your sense of self. There could be something maybe emotionally that comes up to be released related to you or your appearance or your sense of self. And that could really trigger some identity wounds within career, within your public image as well. And maybe kind of like realizing like when and where to pick your battles when it comes to your reputation, when it comes to career and putting yourself out there, especially on social media or with community, within friend groups. Not so much like fighting to be understood, but like letting people misunderstand you because they're not your people and they don't even matter. And putting more focus and energy on like the people that do want to understand you, right? Again, mental reframe about how you're perceived and how you're seen in the world as a whole. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your area of values, possessions, money. So there could be a lot of focus on like with money, am I doing this in a joyful way, or am I doing something that brings me joy for money? And kind of again, mental reframes. There could be something that is challenging with money or with shared resources, kind of some tension between those two areas that's maybe challenging friends or social media or community or your long-term goals and visions. But the outlet for this is your creative projects and passions. So where are you putting your creativity? And again, how are you focused on your joy and putting more time and energy and focus onto that to create more of it versus like strife or picking battles that you have no business picking. Friday, there's a big illumination of, again, something in your mental health, something in your subconscious, a mindset that has been kind of building for you to shift and to reframe in a really big way. And I think as the week goes on, you're going to get a lot more clarity around this. And it feels like Friday, there's a big healing of a wound around that, maybe related to career and your value and money. As we head into the weekend, the emotional focus is going to be in your area of day to day communication, how you share ideas and information. There could be a big emotional release related to that on Saturday, maybe around ideals of perfectionism or self criticism, like how you're talking to yourself in your head, is getting this kind of pressure to really shift in a major way. Again, I feel like a broken record, but big focus is on mental reframe and communicating to yourself in a way that supports your mental health and where you're headed, as opposed to like giving weight to the haters or whatever it is, the negativity, right? And there could be a big moment around that on Sunday that comes up that is just challenging, but it helps you to see how much you really need to evolve the way that you're viewing all of this and the way that you're communicating to yourself about it and the way that you're, letting it get to you and what you're, when phones are off, when the lights are off, when everything's like, what's going on in your head. And you need to talk to yourself positively more than you listen to negativity in your head. So that's kind of how we end out the week for you, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your community, your long-term goals, vision, social media. There might be a lot of emotional focus on that and socializing or putting yourself out there in new ways, really innovating the way that you're sharing ideas and information, especially if you do this on social media or just to your community in general. That's more aligned with your vision. That's more aligned with like your long-term goals that have been shifting and changing and you've been getting more clarity around in these last few, really the last year or so. Tuesday, lots of big shifts. So we have the emotional focus shifting into your area of the subconscious. There is a lot of activation there in your inner world of like looking at these deeper emotional things that are contributing to what's going on in these other very external areas of your life. And there could be this really big come to Jesus moment building within career and relationships all week. And so, especially on Wednesday, there's a big emotional illumination and amplification of your inner world and subconscious, and it might bring up or challenge some wounds, identity level wounds related to your worldview and your perspective and your belief systems. And again, it's all coming up for you to really mentally reframe and to see things differently in a major way. As we head into Thursday, there's a sense of emotional renewal, but it also directly challenges what you're taking action on in your career or what you're moving forward with in your reputation, your image, to build something there really meaningful. There could just be this emotional conflict between that and an identity level thing. Emotionally, again, maybe some emotion, more emotional purging is necessary, or moving emotions through your body with walking or dancing or whatever it is that does it for you. And that could also put some tension on what's going on with relationships, but at the same time, there is the release of all that through your home. So maybe spending really time with yourself, journaling to alchemize this energy or whatever does feel like challenging or frustrating. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus on you is harmonizing with identity level wounds you're healing related to your worldview and your identity. And your sense of self. It's kind of like everything really clicks in a major way as we end out the week. And then there's more focus on like, okay, what am I actually doing about this? What are the action steps I'm taking? Getting more clarity on what that looks like, and how to go about it. But on Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your possessions, your money, your values. So there might be this big purge of either your mindset around money that comes up or like perfectionism around finances or possessions. Could be actually clearing out physical items that comes up. Maybe you're like, oh, this doesn't match my vision. This doesn't match where I'm headed. I need to let go of it. I need to sell it, whatever it is. It's kind of this great restructuring that's occurring for you in a lot of ways now that you're getting more clarity on what you want your life to look like moving forward. And as we end out the week on Sunday, the emotional focus on your money and possessions is challenging conversations and communication within friends or with social media. So there could be this sense of like, oh, I want to go out and do this thing, or I want to go spend time with friends, but I also like need to be responsible and finish cleaning out my closet or whatever it is, right? And so there's kind of this like tug of war, and maybe you can have both, but you have to kind of figure out how to balance it. And that is really the major energy as we end out your week, Leo. So let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hmm. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your career. There's there's a lot of energy going on with work and in your career and public image right now. A lot of change, a lot of ideas and talks of ideas and innovations coming through in this part of your life. So a lot of focus on that, especially as the week progresses. Monday, there could be some clarity you're getting around that, an idea, maybe a collaborative idea within career. And as we head into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your long-term goals, visions, community, social media. So there could be something about that you're focused on, really needing to dedicate yourself to emotionally and creatively. Maybe that is putting some friction or challenge on shared resources in some way, and needing to just kind of maybe reel in spending or be more aware of where your money's going or paying off debt or something, and like having a balance with all of it. As we head into Wednesday, there could be a big emotional release or feeling really emotionally supported through your friend groups and the people who are around you, because there's a big amplification and expansion of emotions and the emotional focus that's in your long-term goals, visions, community, social media on Wednesday. And it could challenge some identity level wound with money or with shared resources around debt, taxes, investments, anything to do with that, or vulnerability and intimacy. There could be something emotionally that's challenged with that moving forward too, kind of helping you to see again where the how do I say where there still might be some blocks with like sharing yourself to bring in resources that is actually supportive of your long-term goals and visions, but it's kind of like there's been blinders to not seeing it super clearly. And so there might be something on Wednesday that challenges you to see something more clearly as it relates to that, and how you can maybe step out of your comfort zone and into a new way of sharing yourself with community or on social media in order to support your resources, or support paying off debt, that kind of thing. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your subconscious, your mental health, but directly challenges what's going on with your perspective, your worldview. That's getting a lot of momentum on changing these belief systems at a deeper level, maybe even related to work or physical health or your day-to-day routines and a relationship with structure and with responsibility. There's a lot coming up around that on Thursday, and maybe the release of that is through journaling or through doing some sort of like alchemy or focus on transformation, like in your mindset or how you communicate, or just maybe needing to release something verbally or emotionally that there's been maybe friction building around. It's kind of a sensitive time as well. Um, on Friday, there's a lot going on this week. Friday, there's big illumination of change within your career. So there could be something that comes through, your more insights or downloads around as it relates to your image, what you're doing to cultivate your reputation or a new career, a big career shift. What you're again, the relationship you have with the responsibility and discipline when it comes to building this and this kind of new or long-lasting legacy for yourself, and related to all the clarity you've been getting around the direction you're headed and moving forward with at this time. There could also be later on Friday some big subconscious healing that comes through. Kind of maybe unexpectedly in your inner world. Again, maybe you've like really been reflecting and there's something that comes through that you just like an aha moment. Saturday, and as we end out the week, there's a sense of emotional renewal, but there also could be Saturday a big emotional release related to an old identity or version of yourself, really fully letting go of ideals of perfectionism or self-criticism as it relates to you and how you share yourself with the world. And that positively supports a big mindset shift. So there's a lot being activated on this inner level of your mindset and your beliefs that kind of solidifies over the weekend and really shifts in a major way. As we head into Sunday and really end out the week, the emotional focus that's on you and your sense of self is directly challenging conversations related to career. So there might be some tension there. There might be some challenges to navigate related to like you, your emotional needs, and what's going on with career or reputation and how you're sharing ideas or communicating to the world about certain things. So that is how we end out your week, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your mindset, on your perspective of life. There might be this big aha moment that happens at the start of the week around how you're viewing the world around you and solidifying in this new belief system or this new way of viewing the world as a whole or at large of like and more so trusting yourself than ever before, trusting your ideas and trusting like what you know to be true about what you want or your desires, or how you're moving or where you're moving forward in your life in a lot of major ways. Monday and into Tuesday, later Monday and into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your career. So there's a lot of focus on your reputation, maybe launching something, putting something out there that people are going to see related to your reputation, your image that you're building in a major way. There is a big shift in focus at the start of this week as well in your area of career. So there's a lot of momentum there. Again, related to like what you're realizing about your belief systems and your perspective of life, that's really solidifying in major ways as well. There could be some tension building this week as well, conflicts or challenges building around shared resources and what's going on with creativity. This major kind of evolution building in a lot of big ways, but it begins with this way that you're choosing to view life differently and that you're really cultivating a positive worldview versus like letting life cultivate your worldview for you. Does that make sense? Wednesday, there's a lot of heightened emotions within your career. This could also create some inspired ideas or creative inspiration within what you're doing, what you're building for your public image and your reputation. There's a lot being activated in this area of your life, like I said, at this time, but it could be challenging to navigate what's going on there with relationships, and there could be something about that you're learning how to balance. There could also be on Wednesday something triggered at an identity level, an old wound within relationship dynamics as well on Wednesday that comes up just to be kind of emotionally cleared at a deeper level. Into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your community, long-term goals, visions, but it kind of puts tension on what you're moving forward with in investments, resources, taxes, debt, things like that. It kind of puts a temporary emotional tension on what's going on with that. This could be like realizing you need to just tweak a few things related to what you're doing with finances or resources in order to support where you're headed long term and your joy and excitement related to these goals that you're shifting into and moving towards. It could just be getting a lot of clarity, but around money especially. And maybe there's a deeper belief system that comes up around resources and money that you realize you need to just transform at a deeper level. And that kind of clicks into place later on Friday. There's emotional harmony between your long-term goals, where you're headed, and relationships. There could also be a conversation you have with someone in your life that helps with this, getting clarity around this new belief system, this new perspective, the mindset shifts that have been occurring for you that you're really stepping into in a major way. There, it also feels like there's a lot of opportunity for creative inspiration this week as well. Um, Saturday and over the weekend, there's kind of an energy of isolation or reprieve. Just kind of pulling your energy back in order to refine things, maybe clean some things up, like physically or energetically, as the emotional focus shifts into your inner world and your subconscious. There's a kind of maybe big emotional release that occurs on Saturday around your mindset and these kind of, again, these mindset shifts and perspective shifts that are occurring for you. And there might be some things coming up around like your perfectionism, or tendency towards that, or self-criticism, and like, okay, I really need to like let this go and just talk to myself differently when it comes to this. That could also be a theme on Sunday as we end out the week. Maybe you spent some time like hermiting, and it's giving you a lot of clarity on and what within your inner world there needs to be more shifts around to evolve and to further have more harmony with these other areas of your life that are also a focus at this time, like your career and your work and your relationships and dating. Um, Kind of like a mental fog clears out in some deeper ways. So that's how we end out your week, Libra. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your inner world, on your shared resources, debt, taxes, investments, maybe businesses. There's a lot of ideas that you're kind of getting more emotional clarity on what you actually want to do about or with. There's a lot of like mental inspiration and innovation, kind of major mindset shifts coming in, kind of forming or solidifying in. If they've been building and you've been kind of feeling them, it feels like this is where they all kind of come together and to form an aha moment. Um, that's kind of how we start your week off, and then Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your mindset, your belief system. So there's a lot of emotional energy on, okay, how am I viewing this? Or what is my belief system around this? Or what, how can I see this differently? Like kind of having a higher perspective as it relates to what you're doing or building or navigating with work, with physical health, with your day to day. Kind of like, there's this sense of emotionally being challenged with like to take a higher perspective and take a higher path related to this. Also this week, a lot of focus shifts into your, again, shared resources, your debt, taxes, investments, what you're doing with money, sharing money. And there's a lot of illumination around that. Again, if there's been these kind of ideas or innovations forming or big changes related to that have been building, this is the week where they kind of, you get more clarity and on how to move forward with them, and they more so solidify than ever. There's also a lot of tension or challenges building between relationships and home. So just kind of uh, really speak up about things in the moment, because if not, there can be a lot of volcano type energy that builds. And there might be something on Wednesday that is like really emotionally amplified related to that and related to maybe an identity wound that there has been some needing to change, to heal with work and with physical health or day-to-day routines as well. So there could be a big buildup of that. Um, just important that the emotional release isn't directed at anyone, so just watch out for that. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your career and to your public image, and challenges what's going on with relationships, puts tension on what's changing about home and family as well. But the release of that is through you. What are you doing to take care of yourself when things feel really challenging, or when things feel really just like tension-y, like a pressure cooker? What can you do for yourself to not get caught up in the pressure cooker, and have some time for you? There could be some major healing that comes up around that, and maybe solidifies even more so into place of like, okay, I really need to make time for this because it supports me and my well-being and lessens the impact of hard conversations, or arguments or things like that. And that could come about on Friday, getting that kind of emotional clarity, and also bringing more joy and having more emotional focus on joy within career and work as a whole. Saturday and over the weekend, the emotional focus is on your long-term goals, visions, community, social media. There could be something on Saturday, a big emotional purge or release around long-term goals or visions, or your community, and maybe a release of a mindset as well of like, I really need to stop being so hard on myself about this, or really view this differently. Talk to myself about this differently, more supportive, and maybe a relationship or people in your life are supporting you in seeing that more clearly, kind of mirroring to you what that looks like, right? So you can implement it inside of yourself. And on Sunday, that's really the energy on Sunday. There could be a helpful conversation you have to have, or a challenging conversation you have to have emotionally that ends up being helpful, for navigating what you're doing and how you're going about doing it as we end out your week, Scorpio. So that's your week ahead. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your relationship. So there could be a lot of clarity you're getting about relationships in general, what you value within them. There could be this big sense of, especially emotional clarity, or clarity around your emotional desires within relationships or connections in general. There's also a lot shifting at the start of this week, especially Tuesday is when you really start to feel it in your area of shared resources, investments, debt, taxes, what you're doing with money that you make, or just deeper vulnerability and intimacy type things and revelations. There's a lot of shifts. There's a lot of clarity that you receive around things at the start of this week, especially emotionally. Big thing could come up around that on Wednesday too, as there's a sense of heightened emotions within your inner world. So there could be a big emotional purge on Wednesday that comes up related to dating, creativity, related to children, or something from your inner child from childhood. Like a lot of emotional clearing is possible for you and very likely for you at the start of this week, related to maybe relationships, again, inner world healing, home, family, a lot of these themes. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your perspective of life, your belief systems, your mindset, puts tension on what's changing about the way you communicate yourself, or where you go, who you talk to on a daily basis, the people you have around you, as well as how you share ideas and information. And at the same time that there's tension in these two areas, like your higher perspective and your actual like day-to-day perspective or communication style, those are both putting tension on what's going on or changing within your work or within your physical health. Maybe even related to like your structure, your day-to-day routines and things like that. So there could be some helpful uh how do I say, helpful way that to work through that is relying on your spiritual practices or getting out in nature, kind of going within your inner world in spending time with yourself, as opposed to letting these challenges or these conflicts like take you under with them. On Thursday, the emotional focus on your perspective is harmonizing with what's going on with creativity or dating. So there could be this kind of, again, mindset shift and clarity really clicking in around relationships, especially the romantic kind, and really just how to view it all differently and have more joy in the process of whatever's coming up for you there. And also just viewing life from a more joyful, perspective, instead of like letting life affect you. How do I say, you molding how you view your circumstances. As we head into Friday, there could be some further healing around your mindset and perspective, belief systems that are clicking into place, especially around like, again, your inner world, dating, romance, children. any of those type of things. There's also a lot of, again, momentum or possibility for creativity and creative inspiration coming around this same time as well. Saturday and over the weekend, the emotional focus is on your career, on your reputation, your image. There could be a big emotional release tied to that on Saturday. Maybe some version of perfectionism or self-criticism that you've had with career or with your reputation or your image releases in a big way. Maybe kind of through a conflict or challenge, maybe with relationships, and that could kind of bring us into Sunday and create the need for conversation within a relationship or connection in your life related to what was challenging with career or with your image. Um, Maybe just talking things through with someone is going to help, even though it feels challenging or hard to do in the moment. Let me know how that resonates with you, because that's not a super clear one that I'm getting super clear message about, but it does feel significant on Sunday. So let me know how that shows up for you, Sagittarius, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your day to day, your structures, your routines, your work, your physical health. It's really a big energy as we start the week because there's a lot of major changes solidifying there for you. And as we move forward, really into the rest of the year, there's a lot of mental clarity around your structures, your routines, your physical health, your work, and what you're doing in that area to move forward in ways that you've probably been wanting to for the last year, but there's more solidity, there's more clarity about how to go about that actually now and at the start of the week. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationships. There's a lot of focus on your relationships, kind of putting putting a lot of focus on your relationships as we get into the rest of the month, and things move into this area of your life. There's, what am I doing with this? Maybe even challenging, that feels challenging to home or family in some way. Maybe needing to set boundaries with home or family, in order to have a better connection with how do I say, better connection with those you spend time with, and also just to feel more supported emotionally with where you spend your time and who you spend your time around and with. As we head into Wednesday, there's a big emotional amplification in your relationships. That could maybe trigger something within home or family related to an old identity. Again, this is the energy of like you're a chronic overgiver with home or family. It's like, no, you need to really surrender that identity and let it go. There could be maybe an emotional blow up or something that feels really emotionally intense that kind of propels this big shift or breakthrough in you of like, I can't handle it that way anymore. I really need to step into a new identity around this and like solidify that in. So that comes up in a major way on Wednesday. As we head into Thursday, the emotional focus moves on into your area of intimacy, of shared resources, debt, investment, taxes, puts tension on what's changing about your money or your finances or your possessions. This is the energy of like really maybe feeling called all of a sudden to change your decor or get rid of things, purge things. So you can create more space for like joy and create more space for creative inspiration as well. They say a cluttered space is a cluttered mind. This is kind of that like, okay, I need to change this now energy. And you might also find reprieve in reaching out to community about this or something like that, putting your focus on like long-term goals and visions and instead of getting bogged down by the conflicts or challenges that are happening with money or with creativity in some way around this on Thursday. As we head into Friday, there is emotional harmony between your shared resources and what's going on with home and family. There could be this big sense of like an inner world shift. Again, maybe those boundaries you're setting like really starts to clear up space energetically for you, and it's kind of like this aha moment of, wow, that I could have done this all along, and like it's kind of easier than I thought it would be, and I feel so much better about how I'm handling everything in my life because of this. That's really the energy. So it's like this new way of handling all of this clicking into place in a major way, and maybe setting boundaries or communicating from a more solid place. And as we head into the weekend, the emotional focus shifts into your perspective, your belief systems, spiritual practices, mindset. There could be a big emotional purge of that related to habits of self-criticism or perfectionism on Saturday. Big emotional release, maybe also that challenges something about your physical health or energy levels or work, or your structure, routine. Maybe you're really realizing there needs to be some sort of structure in your life that creates space for creativity and for joy, and really implementing that more so than you ever have before is the major energy moving forward as we end out your week. And there might have to be a conversation you have with yourself in a really real way, or someone around you in order to create that space for yourself moving forward. So that is how we end out your week, Capricorn. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on dating, romance, creativity. You could be a little bit of a social butterfly at this time and really getting more mental clarity, especially on dating, romance, creativity, what you want that to look like moving forward. Maybe what your values are related to that, kind of wrapping up some clarity with that mentally. And as we head into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your day to day, your work, your physical health, your routines, your errands. Um, and it kind of puts a little tension on what's going on with like how you communicate yourself, and maybe needing to get a little bit realistic about what you're doing and your schedule and who you're hanging out with and that kind of thing. There's a lot of clarity incoming about just how you spend your time, where you go, who you talk to, what you're doing, not burning yourself out with socializing. It feels like there's been a lot on your plate as it in regards to that. And so it's kind of like this energy of getting more clarity on how you can reel it back in and really be intentional and selective with where you're going and who you're spending time with. As we head into Wednesday, the emotional focus that's in your routine, your schedule, your physical health, there's a big illumination of that, and there could be a big wound like later on Wednesday that's challenged around work or your routine or your health, maybe related to again like this mindset, um, how you're communicating, how you're really like thinking about something. Again, if there's been like delusion about something, there's a lot of kind of like come to Jesus moments that are like, okay, I need to see this for what it is. I need to like, if you're, the big, how do I say? The big indicator is like if you're trying to convince yourself of something, like making up stories for like what something could be or what something is versus just like seeing it for what it is. Like this is that energy. And I feel like as the week progresses, you realize like, oh my God, I've been like making up a story about this that's not what it is. Like I've been trying to convince myself in my head that this is that, but it's actually that this. So there might be something that big that comes up around that on Wednesday, maybe challenges an identity level wound related to like communication, or day-to-day stuff, or just like friends or people in general. As we head into Thursday, this is like sobering clarity. That supports you. It might be hard in the moment to see it and how it really is, but it is supporting you and how you're moving forward with everything. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationships, puts tension on what's changing about you at an identity level. And both of those things are challenging what's going on with home or family, or how you're moving forward or taking action on things with home or family, or building something there. The release of this energy and these kind of conflicts or challenges are through your career or through your public image, maybe going and hanging out with people, or, in a way that feels good to you, or putting some energy into a passion project with career, or an obsession you've had, or something like that. That's like, I don't know, maybe you have like a side hustle you want to start, and this is kind of the week where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna launch this thing, or I'm gonna put this on social media and just see if I get any bites. Like that's kind of the energy. There's also, starting Thursday and moving forward, a lot of energy on your creative passions and pursuits and projects, as well as dating, but mostly on like where you're headed with what's changing in a major way about your creativity and your passion projects. and what you're doing to really ground them into reality and make them happen in a major way. Grounding in the change. Friday, there's more of that. The emotional focus on your relationships is harmonizing with something you need to be disciplined with in your everyday. This could come down to like communication. It could again come down to being more selective with who you're spending time around and what you're talking about with these people. Like, is it productive? Is it helpful? Is it positive? Is it contributing to your life? If not, then maybe, there needs to be some removal of it. Saturday and over the weekend, the emotional focus is on your shared resources. There could be a big emotional release related to themes of self-criticism or perfectionism or just refining or cleaning something up about shared resources, whether it's debt, investments, taxes. If you share resources with a partner or family stuff or anything like that, there could just be something coming up to refine, to shift in a more positive way. This could also be inner world transformation related to vulnerability or intimacy. And then we end out the week on Sunday with whatever's going on in that area of your life, challenging your creativity, challenging dating or romance, as well, or maybe some ideas you're sharing with that, or how you're talking about those things. Again, it's kind of like, okay, when you have conversations about this, is it supportive? Is it helpful? Or does it feel more negative and perpetuating things you don't want, right? So just keep an eye on that. And shift it however you can when you can. And that is how we end out your week, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your home and family. There's a lot of momentum shifting into your area of home and family. So if you've been wanting to like buy a house or putting feelers out there for that or moving, or just spending more time with family or cultivating a family, like there's a lot of momentum in this area of your life, and there might be some emotional clarity you're getting around that moving forward with it on Monday. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your area of creative passions, projects, dating, romance as well. And there's kind of a lot of momentum building there, more clarity solidifying related to what has been expanding in this area of your life for the last year or so. There's a big emotional focus on that. And on Wednesday, there could be a big emotional amplification of whatever's going on with your dating or creative passions, projects, maybe children if that applies to you. But this is also the area of creativity. So there could be a lot of momentum towards like creative projects and pursuits as well. Maybe what you're moving forward with, taking action on. And it could bring up in a challenging way, at a deeper level, a money wound, identity level money wound. So that's something to watch out for too, and just do some positive reframing around when that comes up on Wednesday. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your day to day, your work, your physical health, and kind of puts the focus on how are you bringing in joy to your everyday. And that puts a little tension on what's going on within your inner world and your mental health and the area of the subconscious. And both of those things are challenging what's going on with your day to day. So there's just kind of this emotionally challenging thing that could come up around all of those areas of your life on Thursday. But the outlet for that, the release of that is on like, how do you shift your mindset to see this more positively? How do you shift your belief system or whatever, your mindset, your worldview, in order to see this as something that's not a setback or a challenge that's going to end all that you're doing, and instead see it as like something that's divinely redirecting you to what you want to do or are doing in a way that's more supportive. Also, like I said, a lot of beginning Thursday momentum in your area of home and family. So a lot of illumination there. There could be a last minute mindset change or change of heart, change of mind, or something coming in. Like it feels like very suddenly, very unexpectedly. Like maybe you didn't get one thing you wanted, and it's like the next day something better comes out, and you're like, oh, that's why I didn't get that one thing that I thought I wanted so badly. It's because there was something better, like always. So again, perspective shift and seeing it as helpful instead of hurtful. Friday, the emotional focus that's on your day to day, your routine is harmonizing with money. So there could be something about that that you're just getting more emotional clear about and like bringing into your day to day. That's more helpful for you moving forward. And there could, like I said, be some big shift or spontaneous thing that clicks in with home or family. But Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationships, and there could be something emotionally that you're releasing as it relates to relationships, maybe a way of communicating with people or to yourself about people that is more self-critical or perfectionistic than is like helpful to you moving forward. So there's a big kind of illumination of that, an emotional release related to that, maybe that challenges something about home or family as well. But there's again a lot of momentum on putting these bigger mindset shifts into place to see life differently in a way that's going to support you moving forward as opposed to holding you back in things that aren't helpful for you and ways of viewing life that aren't helpful for you. So there could be something further clicking into place around that on Sunday, maybe related to a conversation you have with someone about home or family, that at first maybe feels challenging, but there is some emotional clarity you get from it that is like a positive evolution of what needs to change. So, yeah, that's your week ahead, Pisces. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. All right, next week. Is this the last week of, yeah, this is the last week of May. Um, absolutely nuts. Like, how did that happen? I don't know. Um, we have the Mars Pluto square peaking on Monday. Let me get to noon Pacific time here because it's throwing me off to be in the middle of the night. La la la. Okay. So we have Mars square Pluto peaking, yep, on Monday. Um, we had a Uranus Cazimi. I guess we can call it a Uranus Cazimi when the sun is on Uranus. We had that this upcoming week. And so we're gonna, as the sun is moving away from Uranus, be getting a lot more clarity on what that brought up for us. And again, this week is really the big build. And then next week is like, okay, here we go. Like, hope you're ready. Because a lot of stuff is moving forward in major ways. We're still gonna have Mars activating Venus as well at the start of next week. We have the moon moving through Libra at the start of the week, opposite everything in Aries. There could be some deeper emotional triggers coming up on Wednesday, the 27th, related to relationships. This is kind of the energy of people realizing certain connections aren't aligned and needing to leave them in the past. Then we have on the 28th, the moon moving into Scorpio and opposite Mars and squaring Pluto. Oh, again, this is very much the energy. I've been saying this these last couple weeks here of what's not aligned will be taken from us. So we have space and room for what is actually aligned. And it's just so important we don't grip on too much to anything because what is for us will always be with us, right? We can't how do I say? What is that saying? There's like a quote around that. Like what is meant for you will always find you or something. That's the energy. So if it's not working out, if it's feeling frustrating, it's probably not aligned. It's probably not meant for you. And there's something better that if you just flowed into it would find its way to you. So that's kind of the energy is like don't hold on too tightly to forcing something that isn't gonna work. Like because you're cutting yourself off from better unnecessarily. So that's really the energy of the last week of May. I mean, we also are going to have Chiron at 29 degrees of Aries about to move into Taurus. Um, big changes, big changes. And then we have a full moon in Sagittarius. Um, so yeah, but we'll save the rest of that for next week. So I'll see you then. Let me know how your horoscope resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.